We are always joined by the great Ron Jawroski, who you can see on the NBC Sports Philly pre- and post-game show tomorrow and every Eagles game. Hey, Jaws.
Spike, Ike, great to be with you guys, and I know I won't be with you next week, so happy holidays to everyone. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Same to you as well, Jaws.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Jaws, the win over the Raiders, is it like, do we think, from an offensive perspective first, was it just the Raiders? Or do you have some real hope for what you saw from the Eagles moving forward?
I start out with the basic premise that it's hard to win in the National Football League. You know, I think in my career and all the years at ESPN of covering the game, it seems to be like sometimes you wonder if you ever get a first down. It's that difficult. So I think the way they handle the Raiders is a good indication of where this team is at. There's an ebb and flow to every season with every team. And how you do adversity is really going to determine where you end up at the end of the season. We lost 3 games in a row, didn't play good football, a great bounce-back game. So I think we handle adversity very well, and I think it'll continue.
So from an offensive perspective, what did you see particularly that you liked in that game?
You must be reading my mind. You know what I like about that win, running the football under center. And
Yeah.
I think running the football under center gets everyone involved in the offense, and that sets up the play action. And every study in recent history has shown that the most explosive plays come out of play action with the quarterback under center. Although the league is now 70% shotgun, the big explosive plays do come out of the shotgun because the illusion of run, the illusion of pass, you don't know what it is till the ball is snapped. And the really good quarterbacks in this league are magicians with the football. They don't know if they hand it off or they kept it. That's where you get the explosive plays. So I thought the 30 snaps under center was a real blessing to me because we hadn't run 30 snaps under center in the previous 3 games, all losses, by the way. So the fact that they ran the football, threw the football under center, I think Jalen's buying in.
So from I guess from a balance standpoint, because one of the, it helps the run game, and you mentioned the pass game under center, but you don't want the defense knowing that if you're going under center, you're running the ball every time, right? And the Eagles, I think Jalen only threw 4 or 5 play action passes under center. What does that balance have to look like? Like how many times do you have to throw the ball to make sure that the defense isn't just loading up on the run every time you go under center?
Yeah, I think it's different in every case. I don't think there's one way to do it. You know, watching the Rams last night, they come to that 13 personnel, that one back, 3 tight ends because they've had some injuries. So, I think teams sometimes have to adapt and adjust as the game goes on due to injuries or what they think is the game plan. How you can impact the game plan with, under shotgun or under center or in the shotgun. In fact, when we saw Cameron Lotu go in the game, I thought, okay, here's a guy that hadn't played a whole lot of snaps at the running back position as third tight end. All of a sudden, he gets 19 snaps in the game or 16 snaps in the game, and he's impactful. So I think there's a reason why he came in. They wanted to run the football out of the under center, and he was in the passing game as well.
I think one of the things we saw too is, you look at the run numbers, and from a yards per carry perspective, it wasn't super impressive. But the fact that they were able to avoid those penalties means that if you run a couple of times and you only get 6 yards out of those 2 runs, you're in 3rd and 4 instead of being a 3rd and 9 because of a false start. So I think that has to be part of the recipe moving forward. Of course, you don't want penalties, but the Eagles have been pretty terrible with that so far this year.
Spike, you absolutely nailed it. I called it staying on schedule, staying ahead of the down. You get in 3rd and long in this league, you're in trouble. It's for years I've been calling 3rd down the money down. That makes or breaks you. You get in 3rd and 7 plus, your chance of conversion is not very good. So if you can stay on schedule, give the defense the aura of run or pass, it's a lot easier to convert 3rd down into 1st down.
Yeah, they're going to take on this Commander team tomorrow night, Jaws, and these type of teams can be dangerous. First of all, it's a divisional opponent in their building. Semi-nationally televised game. There's only 2 games on tomorrow, so everybody will be watching this game. These teams can be dangerous if you let them hang around, right? You let them hang around. I'm wondering, going into this game, is this a slow, methodical win, meaning you just do what you need to do to win, or are you trying to go in there with knockout blows early in this game?
Slow and methodical, I think, is the best way to go and play your game, whatever that game plan may be. Play your game. And you as a former player and myself as a former player, we've all played in some of these games that mean nothing, and then they're not a whole lot of fun to play in. Mm-hmm. But also, some guys, if the game means nothing, some guys get in big games, their butt gets so tight you can't drive a nail up it. I mean they're
unwound your butt cheeks.
They'll pucker up a little bit. Then you get some teams, they know the season's over. They play loose, they play goose. The play caller doesn't worry about anything. So it does make it when some teams play loose, some teams can't play that way. We'll find out how the Redskins play, or excuse me, the Commanders play.
George, you just gave the line of the week, man. I can't even recover from that. That was the line of the week right there, man.
I got something good in me.
Yeah. So what does this Commanders team do that we should be concerned about? From looks like they've played tough, but from an offensive or a defensive perspective, none of the numbers look particularly threatening, I guess, from a Commanders perspective. What do they do well?
Really nothing. I mean, they're and I don't mean that in a derogatory sense, but when you look at Washington, there's nothing that scares you. And when Jaden Daniels was there, when they had their all their wide receivers healthy, and their offensive line healthy, they had a chance to be very good. They're not. Most of those guys aren't there. McLaurin's still there. He always presents a problem for the Eagles. But when you look at them defensively, they're not a good pass rushing team. Quite honestly, they're not a very good coverage team. Their linebackers are pretty darn good. But other than that, I don't think there's really a whole lot to worry about. But you don't want to overlook them. I think that's the one thing that I always concern myself with. You take your opponent for granted because they're losing. We're going to get their best shot. A win we got to play them twice in the next 3 weeks. 2 wins against the Eagles would make their season. Our season's going to be made down the road. But right now, Washington's going, hey, if we knock these guys out, we made our season. That's our Super Bowl trophy.
Hey, Jaws, before we get to your prediction, I wanted to know if you saw that game last night, and what do you thought, chances are if the Eagles end up going to the Super Bowl, they're either going to have to face the Rams or the Seahawks or both. Curious what you thought of those two teams last night in that game.
Well, I still believe the Rams is a better football team, although they gave the game away and just said, what a crazy bizarre football and an entertaining game. And, I think the Rams are still the best team in the NFC, but, they found a way to give the game away. They could have made it their end of the season a little bit easier, but I still think the Rams are the best team.
So why don't you give us your prediction for tomorrow night, Joss?
I would be happy to do that, Spike. I'm going to go with the Birds, 24-17.
That's a push. That's a push. The line's 7, Jaws.
I'm just looking for wins right now.
Okay, all right, Jaws. All right, man.
All right, brother.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays, guys.
Yep.
All right.